welcome in everybody. The temple doors are open and the cleric is in the confessional. Welcome in everybody. My name is Alec the Cleric. I'm a Wonderlands and Borderlands content creator, YouTube editor, podcaster now, and all around funny dad who has no idea what he's doing when he plays games, but we have a lot of fun anyway. This is episode 4 of the confessional, where we interview incredible and interesting people from all walks of life and places, focusing in on the gaming and streaming community. And the best part about this show is that you, as the community, gets to be involved. All you have to do is join our Discord server, !Discord, or for those here live, you can do that command, or you can check the link in the description below if you are joining us later on YouTube or in podcast form on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you download amazing content. Check it out. You'll get to see who we have lined up for the next week. You can submit a question ahead of time using our Google Forms, and you can have your question read live here on the show. And if you are here now live over at twitch.tv/AlecTheCleric, we film each new episode live, so you have an opportunity to ask your questions right here, right now in the chat. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at ClericCast to see who will be coming up in the next week's episode, so you can stay fully up to speed on all things confessional. Okay, enough of that boring intro stuff. Let's get to our guest this week. Joining me this week for our 4th episode is an absolutely amazing content creator, and I am very excited and very honored to get a chance to speak with her. She is a streamer, a content creator, a fellow podcaster, and a community manager for Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands 3 Wonderlands, not Wonderlands 3. Good Lord, are we skipping ahead of time? Wonderlands Discord servers, and she is also a Next Maker from 2K. So, on top of all that, she is also an exceptional artist who makes emotes and assets for other streamers, as well as some incredible figurines and just gorgeous pieces of art. Please welcome in our guest, Sheriff Pirek. Sheriff, how are you doing today?
Hi. Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here. Thank you. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. I gotta admit, I'm very excited to do today's interview just because you do so much in the realm of content creation. So I'm very excited to get a chance to get to speak to you today. So why don't we start off with something just very basic and easy. Why don't you tell our audience who you are and what you do?
I mean, you basically covered everything here in terms of what I do. I'm Pirek or Sheriff Pirek, however you know me from different social medias. So as Alex said, I'm a streamer, but I'm mainly doing art. So you may know me from my artworks, from the emojis all over the Twitch or Discord, and I'm taking care of both Wonderlands and Borderlands franchise servers for the official ones. So I think that's like the scope of the things I usually do as a creator.
Yeah, and that is a lot. I mean, it's a lot for most content creators to focus on one form, but you have like so many different irons in the fire here, so that's why I'm really excited to dive into this. So why don't we start then kind of from the beginning? Where did you get started in content creation, and like how did that journey kind of begin for you?
So, I mean, when it comes to art, I was doing this for a very long time because after high school, I decided to go into like graphic design. So the content creation focused on art started all the way back then. And then kind of like doing the art I actually want to, which is like illustrations and emojis, like those fun stuff. I started to after joining the gaming communities and seeing an opportunity to create stuff I enjoy creating and finding a people who like enjoy seeing that. But when it comes to like content creation of streaming and podcasting and so on, I remember meeting Shadow Evil and we got very friendly and I knew he was streaming. So I decided to like see how it looks like, what he's doing. So I started to check his streams. And later on, I met Quag. I was interviewing Quag for my old podcast. So I wanted to know more about him. I joined his stream like to check what he's doing there. And this was the first time for me because I never understood why people watch streamers. I was like, why would you watch someone play the game if you can just go and play it yourself, right?
Makes sense.
And I found it so silly. And then I joined his stream and I saw that people are there not only because they want to see the game, but they're for the person. They're like having this community they feel that they're part of. And I liked it so much. I later on was by those two guys kicked in ass to start myself, and here we are.
That's very cool, and it's cool too that you came into streaming because of somebody else. Like it wasn't just that you saw streaming and were like, "Oh, I could do that." It was more like you were inspired by another person. That's really cool. That's really cool. That's a unique start to the journey, I should say. So why then the Borderlands franchise? Was it like what about because a lot of what you do revolves around the Borderlands franchise, whether that be your art, your own streaming, the Discord server work that you do. What about the Borderlands franchise made you fall in love with it to the point where you would want to devote so much of your time to so many different parts of the community?
So I'm one of those all-time players who started with Borderlands 1, and I was going for every single game on the premiere, playing from the very start. And like Borderlands 2 and then PS was kind of my comfort game for years. Like whenever I had a rough time or I just wanted to relax, unwind, I would just start this game, and I loved it so much for so many reasons. It was just always this thing I would go back to when I wanted to do even some like mindless shooting and just, enjoying and finding new things in the game. So when Borderlands 3 was announced on PAX, and they announced the Discord server, I was like, wait a minute, Discord have gaming communities? I'm a boomer, okay? I didn't know that back then. So I was like, hold on, there is something there, and there are people who still enjoy Borderlands, like somewhere out there apart from the forum. So I kind of joined there, and I so much love the whole community as it is. How those people are not just gamers who come there to talk about game. They create this community where you feel wanted, welcomed, and comfortable. And I loved it so much. It was kind of a rough time for me personally. So it was so nice to have those people around me who are so nice and supportive and want me around there. I just kind of stayed, and I felt like giving back to the community that welcomed me with open hands is something I really want to do, like in return.
No, that makes total sense, and it's funny that you should mention feeling so comfortable and stuff with the Borderlands community because I feel like that's the experience that a lot of us have. And
Mhm.
before I played Borderlands, I was really into very competitive shooters and things like that, and that Borderlands was kind of a come down for me of just like and
Mhm.
it just kind of stayed that way. Like the community is so wonderful, and we have our own internal arguments and stuff like that. But it's never there's never a whole lot of vitriol, in the Borderlands community. So it's just
Mhm.
it's always so calming. I love it. I love that I'm not the only one that feels that way about it. um,
Every gaming community have own like vibe to it. Some of them are more competitive, and in some of them you feel like super comfortable and chill. There are communities that are super wholesome, and you will feel like hugged every time you enter the chat, And I think whenever I talk with like just players or the content creators for the Lands games overall, there's always like this feeling that there is no competition between us. It's
mm,
always like supporting and elevating one another, and I think this is really cool to feel and to be part of over
for
there.
sure. For sure. I definitely agree. I mean, the Borderlands community is unlike any other gaming community I've ever been a part of, just for those exact reasons. I mean, just for the sake of everybody just kind of coming together under
Mhm.
this weird banner that is Borderlands. So I want to get right into one of the things that you do so well, which is your art. I'd say probably that's one of the things that you are most well known for in this community, and like you said before too, something that you have such a long background in. So you said that you went to art school.
Yeah, I did. I had two options after high school. I wanted to go into IT and like doing programming, and there was this private art school in my city. So I decided I'm gonna give it a go and go with my mediocre portfolio back then. So I said if I get in there, I want to do that like graphic design, and if I don't, I would be probably program like doing a programs and stuff. But I got there, and yeah, like the art academy taught me some stuff, but nothing about the illustrations I do right now, to be honest.
I got
It
you.
Yeah, so it gave me a better understanding of like composition, color, typography, those kind of stuff. But the art overall that I do that you can see on my social media and stuff is something that I was just like doing on side for fun. And this for fun thing became something I guess I'm known for.
Yeah, for sure. So when did you start doing the style that you're so well known for now? For I mean, because even I've used some of your emotes, and I know a lot of people within the community do as well. Where did that style kind of come together for you?
Um, I think that was after my art academy when I finished it. I was very burned out on doing art after the diploma because there was so much art to do in such a short time. I think I took like a half year break. I couldn't just draw anything, even if I tried to. Um, and then that was around the time I joined the Discord, and I was like, "Wow, we can have own emojis. That's so cool!" And I wanted my own emojis, like that can convey more what I wanted to say. So I started to draw then, and from those emojis, I found more like inspiration to do some fan arts, and then just go on with the artworks I'm doing right now. So I guess it could be said like 4 years ago, three, something like this.
That's very cool. Very cool. What would you say are some of your biggest inspirations when it comes to art? Like, if I know that's a very big question, especially for an artist, because there's so much that inspires an artist. But is there anything that when you see it, you're just like, oh, I know I have to draw that, or something just pops into your head?
So I think one of the biggest thing would be animated shows and games that I enjoy. If I start to watch something or play something and I fall in love with the art style or colors or anything there, I start to draw it. Sometimes like pick up the style from it. I remember, for example, I don't know if you know Wakfu.
I don't know.
So Wakfu is a French animated series based on an MMORPG game, and I fell in love with the style, with characters, with the dynamics of them. So I started to inspire by this. Then I played Borderlands, so I inspired a bit with like thick outline and doing more um, like hard lines and like all of those extra pieces of dirt all over the character that gives it more character. So I would say whenever I see piece of media that like have something in it, even if like scrolling Twitter and seeing a cool picture of a sunset or like cool weird I don't know bug or other animal that have something in it, like a shape or a color, and sometimes I look at it and wow, I want to draw a character with colors like this or shape like this somewhere. So I guess like overall, apart from games and videos, like whenever piece of art or just photography, I find that have something in it, something special and unique. Mm.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And because I am exactly zero, like I have zero talent when it comes to art. Like I cannot draw stick figures to save my life. So getting to hear what inspires somebody who actually is a true artist like yourself, that's a very cool thing to hear. Very cool thing to hear. We've actually got our first question from the community here. This one comes from Loopy Lou. She wants to know if you were a vault hunter, who would you be and why?
Wow, it's a hard question. Me as a bull hunter, I would definitely be some kind of sheriff.
Okay.
We can start with that. Um, oh my God, it's never thought of it. I got my own like characters I created for Wonderlands, but I don't know if I identify with them especially. Um, I guess that would be definitely a Vault Hunter if you talk about skill trees and stuff, who would have a lot of things to work with the teams, so like some kind of supporting character. Because I always feel like whenever I do something or participate in anything, I very often take this position where I'm a supporting cast. I'm doing something in the background for the people who are doing something great. Like if we talk about the endgame rush or the hunt, for example, events, it's that role for me. So I would definitely be the one to like pass the ammo or anything else, or grenades to everyone around,
I can still
and get a
definitely
big
picture.
bag of
I can still
yeah,
definitely picture you rocking a Jacobs though. Like I feel like a Jacobs pistol or something is definitely right up your alley for sure.
yeah.
I love
Jacob
that.
Pistol, a bag of steam packs for everyone. It's like,
That's beautiful. I like that. That's very similar to. I mean, that's why I call myself the cleric because I kind of feel
Mhm,
the same role of just kind of being the supporter or the healer. You know, so like
mhm.
that's really cool. I like that. Thank you for the question, Lou. Let's get back to your art for just a minute here, because you do other things outside of just drawing too, because you do like figurines and stuff like that. Do you have a favorite medium of art to work with, like, or is it kind of just whatever strikes your fancy at the time?
I think it's whatever strikes me fancy, to be honest. I basically switched mostly to digital art for most of what I do. I used to do more traditional art, but right now it's like I'm usually working on my PC, so it's just convenient. But then again, like my notebook at work is full of sketches because every call I'm just like doodling something on site, and often I get those doodles and then turn them into emojis or full artworks on computer. Like get this start. And with figurines, I just need to feel it at the moment because it's really hard. They're super small.
Yeah.
I have them so far away, I can't grab them right now. Um, but yeah, for figurines, you need to hit certain type of mindset and non-shaky hands.
Oh yeah. No, I don't have that at all. I could I could never. I could never. That's really cool. So like when you're building a figurine, like are you doing 3D printing and then and painting, or how do you do that? What's your process when it comes to figurines?
It depends because some figurines I just get like ready models that I paint. For example, I almost finished painting. You remember when Borderlands 3 was released? There were those figurines in a special box.
Oh yeah.
So I never got my hand on that, but I got those figurines from a friend. So I
Oh.
started to paint those. So I get them almost all of them painted. Then like Bunkers and Badasses came out. Oh, hey, more figurines to paint. And the Torque Arena of Badasseries like was on the Kickstarter a couple months ago. When that comes in, there will be like hundreds of them to paint. But apart from those ready that are like get those collectibles to do, I also do Warhammer 40K.
Oh, okay.
So with Warhammer, when you buy a figurines, you get them in like those sprues that you have to cut out, clean up, assemble together, spray, and then paint. So this is like the whole process of putting them together and then painting them.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I unfortunately Warhammer was something that I never got into, but I was a big Magic player, so we would share our space with the guys that would come into play at
Hmm.
Warhammer and stuff. So I always saw them building them and painting them and going gaga over them, and I always thought it was the coolest thing in the world. But that was one hobby that I kind of dodged, unfortunately. But
It's
um,
hard to get hobby, definitely, and it's pretty expensive. Like,
yeah.
I have like tons of unpainted figurines laying there, like waiting for me to do them, and I'm trying not to buy more. It's hard.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. It's just like any other type of hobby, right? Like
Yeah.
it just kind of takes over at some point. Actually, to follow that up, we have a question from the community. This one's from Zeroff334. They would like to know, what is your favorite 40K army?
I got two I go with because I go with Necrons and I go with Admech. So because I really like robots. I love robots. That's why I'm Flak Maid in Borderlands. I love robots, and Necrons looked so cool. They're basically like our space Terminators with Egyptian theme,
Oh
if you want
wow.
to like visualize that. Yeah, they're like skeleton robots that when they fall down, they stand up and just march towards like no whenever is in front of them. And I liked Admech because they have such a cool philosophy. They are basically Martians, and their philosophy is that the god is a machine, so they pray to the god machine.
Hmm.
And that's why in Warhammer, for example, every vehicle, like spacecraft and so on, they have soul. And if the soul is hurt, the ship doesn't fly that well. So those Adeptus Mechanicus are focused on praising the god that can be seen in the machinery and so on. And I find it so cool because they have like red ropes and they like alter their bodies with mechanic parts so they can be closer to God. And I find it so cool in this universe. It's very unique army that I enjoy.
That is unique. I like that. I like that. I might have to pick up some Warhammer at some point. I didn't realize it was that in depth. That's really cool.
The lore is enormous. There's no one who can know all of the lore because the whole universe is huge. There's a lot to
Wow.
cover.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Um, Got another question from the community here. A couple of them
Mhm.
actually. This one's from I Kill You Pony. He would like to know which element is your favorite in Borderlands, or do you have a favorite?
Mm, I really liked when radiation came in Borderlands 3. Radiation was great. It was such a great step forward from whatever Slag was supposed to be.
Whoa. We don't have to talk about slag.
You don't talk about Slag exactly, but I found radiation such a cool mechanic that can be used in such a versatile way. And I know some people dislike it, but I really like the sound of the radiation like going off, like this little sizzling. It's such a satisfying sound when you see like your enemies drop down around you. But
Oh,
yeah, I think radiation would be my go-to.
yeah, I'm with you on that one. Radiation was such a cool addition to the game. Such a cool addition. I adore radiation. Probably a little too much. I probably use it a little too much, but um, here we go. This one is from Steam Gray. Steam would like to know what has been your biggest art project that you've done.
That's a hard question. Okay, so there is one art project I still haven't finished yet. I started it. It started as an accident because on my art streams, people can redeem doodles of any sort. They can just drop some points and ask me to draw something. Sometimes I do very simple doodles. Sometimes when I like feel the subject and I like it, I just put a little bit more effort. So someone said they want me to draw a flag, but you know JoJo Bizarre Adventure.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
At least for memes, I hope. Yeah. So they wanted to me to draw a flag in pose of Jotaro Kujo, like finger pointing forward.
That's amazing.
So I sat down to it and I drew it, and everyone loved it so much. I loved it so much. I started to do. It's ongoing project. I think I have like 20 characters done. So I'm drawing every single Borderlands character JoJo posing. And
Oh.
I was like volleying with my chat about so this character, which character from JoJo would be like the good person for them. So I'm going one by one. I think I have like 20 done. I still like go on with it. I'm currently having work in progress on Axton, who's like, forgot the name of the character. It was the Bat Company user. Like he had a
Oh.
little army of robots, so that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
very
yeah.
fitting, yeah. But I want to finish it eventually. I don't know when, but like I'm going on. But my favorite part of it was that, well, Jotaro has Star Platinum, so we did Star Jabinum, and that's just a giant buffed jabber.
I love that so much. I love that so much. Oh man, I can't wait to see that if it ever gets finished. That sounds absolutely incredible. Oh, I love that. I really love that. So, kind of t-boning off of that, what would you say your like that's your largest piece that you've done or are working on? But what would you say? Do you have a favorite piece that you've done?
Hmm. I would say my favorite one I did was I had this moment where I started to play Darkest Dungeon,
Mm.
and I really like the style. It's such a unique, dark, heavy style with a very heavy line art. And I've painted the Borderlands 3 Vault Hunters, but in the Darkest Dungeon style. I have this like whole painting somewhere, and I really like it because it was something so far away from my comfort zone. It was my first attempt to draw something in such a unique style I have never tried. And it was kind of hard during it, but the effect, like the end result, I was super happy with it because it was so different from what I do, but still looked really good. So I think, yeah, that would be the
That
one.
would be really cool because like you said, Darkest Dungeon has such a unique. It's very. It's a lot like Borderlands in the sense that the art style is so unique.
Mm-hmm.
So taking other characters into that style must have been a lot of fun. That must have been a lot of fun. Um,
I'll make sure to share it on your server later for people so you can see.
yes, please. We would absolutely love to see that.
Mhm.
Exclamation point Discord. If you guys have not joined the Discord server, Sheriff will share that in for us because I'm sure that we would love to see that. Um, Steam also wants to know: have you ever done any collaborations with other artists, or is that something that you don't really do?
I did a couple of like exchanges with artists, but I never ended up. I mean, I'm up for collaborations with different artists, and I absolutely love it. I did, I think, like once in a very, very long time ago. Um, but no, it didn't happen to me to do a big collaboration with people.
Gotcha.
but always up to it.
Collaborations are always fun. Always fun.
Mhm.
Got another question from Zaref, actually. They would like to know, do you have any art styles that you don't care for at all?
I would say realism. I
Yeah.
don't do realistic works. I used to do art that had more details and more like this shading and try to do something more realistic. And I put so much time in it, so much effort. I was never super happy with the result, and people were like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. So I just stopped it. I actually dumbified and simplified my style over the years to be more like cartoony, and
Hmm.
that's what people enjoy and like more. So I just stick to that. So realism is a big no-no for me here.
Well, and it's so different too, right? Like, because like I said,
Hmm.
I am not an artist, but from my experiences with talking with artists, like to be able to do photorealism, like it's a completely different mindset. Like there is a whole, it's not just as easy as like, oh, I'm just gonna draw this person and they're gonna look really real. You know, there's so much more that goes into it. So, but
Hmm.
it's not harder or anything necessarily. It's just so different, you know, like
Hmm.
from doing the cartoony style. But I mean, we all adore your art, so I have no complaints there. Let's see. I Kill Your Pony would like to know, do you have a favorite DLC from? Let's see. Do you have a favorite DLC Borderlands series character, like somebody that a character from the DLCs? I guess is what they're asking.
The DLC characters. So I guess I could go with Gage
Oh
here.
yeah, sure, that works. That's
Yeah,
technically
like
DLC.
I because I started Borderlands 2 with Axton, and I was Axton main for many months. And when Gage came out, I was horrible at it because I saw the Gage, I started to play her, and I remember I was like, anarchy sounds stupid. I'm not gonna use it. So I was playing non-anarchy gauge for like a couple months, and I couldn't understand why can I climb up the OP levels. I just cannot. It's impossible. I struggled like even on like UVHM on start was struggle for me. And then I went online and read that this is like a meta for her. I was like, oh my god, they played it wrong all the time. And then I switched to Anarchy. But yeah, I really enjoyed the Gauge. As I said before, robot themes are always something I really enjoy. And being a badass girl with a robot that kills things for you, that was like, oh, that's down my valley. I loved it so much. It was great.
Gage is such a cool character. I've always loved Gage. I have always loved Gage. It's such a fun character. Another question, real quick, from the community. This one's from Ozo Vapes. They would like to know: have you ever gotten your own art tattooed on you, or has somebody else? I'll broaden the question a little bit. Has anybody else gotten a piece of your art as a tattoo?
Yes, there was one person, I don't think I have any pictures anywhere, but I did like a very simple artwork, kind of like a fox in the flowers for someone once. And I also have I have one tattoo. I did a sketch for it, and my tattoo artist like redid this sketch in her own style a bit. Um, so I have like this fox having the space helmet on the head. It's like floating. And because I really like all the sci-fi movies, I have a paraphrased alien quote written in Comic Sans with like in space, no one can hear you go ah, because foxes always yell.
I love that.
So yeah, I got that one.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. I love that so much. Okay. Well, on top of being an amazing artist, you are also a podcaster yourself. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started in podcasting and what kind of drew you to that form of content creation?
So Borderlands 3 was experiencing a bit of a content drought at some point. We were waiting for next DLCs and there was not much things happening. And I wanted to activate the Borderlands server a bit. So after, I mean, I realized then that I didn't watch any content creators and people mentioned them all the time. And I thought, what can we do to bring those content creators a bit closer to community? So I started on behalf of the server Meet the Streamer podcast. It had 15 episodes, if I remember well. And me and Grumpy Ripper, the other admin from the server, we just invited random content creators from the community. And we kind of had this thing where they would come over. We had some questions for them. We had some questions from community we gathered over the week, and the goal was to let those creators find another platform where they can come and tell a bit about themselves, about what they do, what they enjoy about the game. And I think the best part was knowing that later on some of our viewers would go to them and actually watch them and check their content. So that was a great way to promote like the most creative and fun people in the community. So that's, and the other podcast I'm running currently again was created because of the need from the community. Because Wonderlands doesn't have right now an official show that would help explain hotfixes.
Ah.
And if you've noticed, hotfixes now contain the percentage values, which never happened with Borderlands. It's a blessing on one hand because it's easier to understand things, but it's also a curse because new players they see minus 100% like, oh, this gun is unusable, this gear is unusable. They're like panic, complete panic mode without understanding how those changes actually affect the game. So I started this Wonder Fix where I invite random content creators as well, and we just talk about those hot fixes, and they can explain to you that, for example, this and that change is not horrible. They just fixed something you don't even notice in this item, right? So I wanted to make this little thing for the community to understand better how the game changes,
Oh,
and just don't go panic on social media that the game is ruined.
oh yeah, and that is such a necessity with Wonderlands. I think Wonderlands has been its own, it's had its own struggles and everything, but it is such an
Hmm.
incredible game, and I think a lot of people, with the fact that they're being so open with us as to what they are changing and stuff in these weekly hot fixes,
Hmm.
like I've seen it too, just the panic that sets in. Like one of the only commentary videos that I have on my YouTube channel is a video where I had to tell everybody, don't panic, the liquid cooling wasn't nerfed. So like, and that was all based on hotfix percentages. So that's really cool that you guys are doing that, because that is a huge, huge need in the community. Huge need in the community. Um,
Hmm.
Now, podcasting is obviously a really pretty different form of content creation than most people think of when they think of content creation. Do you feel like you have to approach podcasting differently from the way that you would approach, say streaming or something like that? Like, what's the mindset like for you when it comes to podcasting?
Oh, that's totally different. That's totally different for me, at least. um, because the first thing is, when you do your stream, you can do whatever. It's all about you. You can talk about anything you want. You can talk total bullshit or just sing or whatever. And there is, I feel like, less pressure because you just do whatever. People come there for you. People know you. People want to volley with you about subjects and stuff. And I feel podcast is way more like closed form where you have to do certain things when you have to be professional, where or at least try to be professional.
Yeah.
And you need to remember that your audience there is not like your audience
Mm,
because your viewers will come, but also your guest viewers will come, and also totally random people who just want to learn more about those people will come. So there are many new faces that, for example, don't know you. So certain things that your audience is used to, the new people will like, what is this happening? What is he talking about? Why is he like this? It's way different. And then there is a part of like on your stream when you go quiet for a moment, it's fine. You're just focused on the game or something, right? In the podcast, you have to keep this conversation fluent and flowy and make it comfortable and make it fun for the audience. And you have to like be on 100% all the time. So it's definitely different mindset, more focused, I would say, I guess.
yeah, and it's definitely a lot easier too when you have somebody that you can like bounce off of and stuff like that. Like the people that do solo podcasts, I honestly have no idea how they do it, because like because you're right, it is a totally different mindset. Like, and I can be zany and make weird sound effects or whatever I want to do when I'm streaming, but podcasting,
Mm.
that probably wouldn't translate so well. So,
Definitely. And you said a very good thing that you need to find a guest you can volley with, because I had episodes where I would like ask a question and I expected like, oh, there's like gonna be definitely a fun answer and we can volley about this subject. And the person would reply with like, oh yes, I think I agree. Silence. Silence, like, you know, say anything more about this, or we like go to next question. And this awkwardness that occurs there, it's sometimes so hard to like, you know, break through and continue with keeping up the entertainment value there.
yeah, and actually, I'd like to ask you about that. So, like, when you have those moments as a podcaster, when things kind of lull out or something like that, what are some things that you do, or like tips you can give for anybody that might be thinking about starting a podcast or an interview type show? What are some things that you do to kind of keep things flowing, to keep the entertainment going?
So I usually try to add something to the question. So, for example, if I ask about one thing, the person is like giving a very lacking answer. I try to, oh, you know, because I think, or I do, or like I add something about myself to this, seeing if this will like bring this person to talk more. And if they still like, oh, yeah, okay. Then I just jump out to like ask some absolutely silly question. For example, in the meet the streamer thing, my favorite question to ask to like make this more spicy and like going was, if you had a loot explosion, what would you drop? And people are like, like going all surprised and then started to think and try to come up with very silly answer. And this would always make them like, you know, a bit more pep, and like get back to the right track of talking about this whole. And like, it's always a funny question with always silly answers.
Oh yeah, and that is an awesome question too, because anything that makes people think and then like try to come up with something that is uniquely them, like that is so cool. I like that. Zareth from the community, they would like to know the third question for Zareth. You are on a roll, Zareth. I love it. They want to know: do you have any podcasts that you enjoy listening to in your spare time?
So I used to listen to a lot to Welcome to Night Vale,
Oh yeah.
but it's, you know that, right?
Oh yeah, very
And
much so.
so the same group also made the relaxation tapes, and they did this with a girl who was driving the truck. I don't know, I forgot the name. Where's Alice? I think it was named,
Yes, I
or
remember
something like
that
this. Yeah,
spin-off
or
show
like,
that they did. Yeah.
yeah. So I remember accidentally finding Welcome to Night Vale, and I absolutely love it because it's so weird, so awkward, so fantasy, and this is just an audio. That means there is so much place there to draw fan arts because no one knows how those characters look like. You can come up with anything there. I was once on a live show for Welcome Night Vale. They were in my country, and I went with friends. It was absolutely amazing to see Cecil on the stage
I'm sure.
talking. It was so great. But definitely Welcome to Night Vale and other projects from this group. And I occasionally listen to Kid Boga
Okay.
because he's hilarious. And I don't know if you know Kid Boga.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious whenever I'm like at work having this like working slower and just feeling tired. I just put him on the background, and it always makes me smile. So
Now, do you take any
there's
inspiration for yourself in your own content from these other podcasters that you listen to? Like, do you try to apply anything that you hear or things like that to your own podcasting?
I guess one thing would be to talk slower because I know if I get into the subject, I start to speak very fast, and I am aware of it, but not at the moment where I speak too fast. So I guess that. But otherwise, no, because what I do and what those creators do is a kind of different field of podcasting,
For
let's
sure.
say.
Yeah, for sure. And I like that because I think a lot of people try to mimic too much like the things that they like, if that makes sense. And there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with don't get me wrong. There is definitely nothing wrong with taking inspiration. I don't want anybody in the audience to think I'm saying that you can't be inspired by a content creator or a podcaster or something like that you enjoy. But being able to make something uniquely yours is just so important. So it's cool that like while you take some very technically basic stuff away from the other shows that you listen to, you still try to make your stuff your own. I like that. I really appreciate that. Um, got one more question for the community here for now. Loopy Lou wants to know: have you ever thought about transferring your artistic talents to be a cosplayer?
Why? Um, I did couple cosplays when I was a tiny little weeb that was going with every anime convention back in the day. I did my first cosplay was Undertaker from Kuroshitsuji anime,
Oh,
because I liked him very much, and then I did Suikai Buki from Toho game. Because I really like Toho, I used to play it a lot, and I really like this quirky little character. She was like a always drunk demon, Oni from like Japanese culture, and she was so great. And I think I still have a wig for this outfit somewhere, like in my wardrobe.
oh, that's
Um,
cool.
I don't know, but I don't think about cosplays nowadays, because I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with how I look right now, I guess. So I wouldn't feel comfortable showing off with outfits and everything. What I do is I do LARPing. Also,
Oh,
there's
very
another
good.
thing I didn't mention before. I do post-apocalyptic LARPing, so I got an outfits for those LARPs. I got like a full body armor I've made based
Whoa.
on rugby pads with like giant epaulets and everything. I got like more casual costume, and my character I usually play is called Wanda Makłowiczówna, and her surname is a reference to famous Polish chef from
Mm.
the. He's like a Bob Ross and Gordon Ramsay in one, so
Oh,
like
that's
super
cool.
wholesome but cooking. And I absolutely love this guy, so I made myself a character who is also a post-apocalyptic chef, and she's kind of person like when the boys go fight the mutants, I'm like, do you have enough ammo? Did you pack your cigarettes? Did you have some drink this morning? I'm like this good mom who'll give them some sandwiches on the road, kind of
The
stuff.
mama
But
bear.
yeah, yeah, I did myself like a apron made of like beer cans and stuff.
Oh, cool.
With yeah, and I got like a hat and like the whole jumpsuit, which I try to do like Borderlands thick outline all of it. So I did some costumes, but not necessarily cosplay. Yeah.
That's so cool. I really like that. BenMe3331 from the community would like to know: are you an anime fan? I think that's obvious from the fact that you've been inspired by so many animes and stuff, but I'll add on to that question. What are some of your favorite animes?
Oh my. Um, I used to go on like 10 to 12 anime conventions a year back in the day.
Mm,
Um, because I was running the Japanese games room where I would teach people how to play mahjong, shogi, hanafuda, go, all of those games.
wow.
So I was huge whip watching every single anime that was coming out all the time. I don't watch as much nowadays because I have so many different things to do. I don't always find time and moment for that. Some of my favorite anime, I would probably say, yeah, JJBA, JoJo Bizarre Adventure was always something I really like. Some of the most memorable ones for me would be Madoka, well, La Magi Madoka Magica, which was so surprising when it went out. I like from Trigger Studio generally what they
Okay.
produce. They get a lot of good value, like production value. Red Line is fantastic movie, anime movie I would always recommend.
I don't think I've seen that
Um,
one. I'm gonna have to check that
I-
out.
Red Line, definitely
Red
check it
line.
out. It's absolutely visually amazing. Great, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Cool.
not a big fan of Ghibli, for example. I know everyone's like loves Ghibli,
Aw.
and I have a couple I like, but I don't. It's not like my go-to.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about anime, even just as an art style, right? Is that there's
Hmm.
there's something for everybody in it, and just because you might not like one thing doesn't mean that you don't like something else. And like I've always been drawn to anime just for how broad and beautiful a style it is. And so, yeah, like I am a huge Ghibli fan, but that's just because that's what I grew up watching, like so it has a nostalgia factor to me more than anything else. But yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Excuse
It's
me.
silly when people. It's okay. I find it silly when people say they don't like anime because uh, it's like saying I don't like American movies or European movies. It's the whole part of the culture, and there's so many niches inside of it. You can just not like animated pictures at all because some people just don't watch anything animated, like cartoons and so on. But you got the animes, like all of those cool slice of life, popular things. You got some very serious ones. You got horror stories, and then there are anime that no one will talk around, like that are focusing, for example, they are having the production value of the um a show for adults, but
Mhm.
not in like an adultery way. It's as, for example, people who struggle with day-to-day basics of working and having love life and everything. So just like your everyday show that your mom will watch somewhere on TV in the afternoon. So there is a lot of this in this genre of like every single type of content.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people that say they don't like anime are the people that just look at it as like, oh, those are like cartoons for kids or something, or
Mhm.
like, or they only think of like Dragon Ball Z or like the old popular shows or something like that. And it is just, it's so much more than that. Just so much more than that. Um, so on top of all of these other things that you do, you're also the Discord manager for both Borderlands 3 and Wonderlands for their servers. How did you get started with doing that? I know you touched on it a little bit before, but like, how did that actually come about where you became the person managing these just absolutely massive Discord servers?
So because I started as a like typical moderator there. I When I joined the server, that was during a very busy time, uh, during the PAX. Um, so they needed a moderators ASAP, and I was super active. So like, oh, she's active, let's get her in. And I had no idea that Discord have bots, and I was a moderator, and that was like surprise for me. Like, what do I do here? How do I do that? I can talk to people, but I don't know what else I can do. But I just kind of climbed up this whole way to be where I am right now with the servers. It may seem like a lot of work, but there's so many ways to make your work like amount of work being less there, especially with the bots, because we don't have to worry about like some very basic moderation or like someone spams scam links or other naughty things,
Mm-hmm.
because it's usually bots that do this work for us, so we can just like don't focus and sit there 24 hours a day checking out if someone doesn't post something nasty there. um, but I think the most work happens when, for example, there's a content release. For example, when there was a game release or DLC release, there's always more activity. There are people who want to actually discuss it, and then you have trolls who just come in trying to make sure everyone is miserable, that they enjoy the game. So there is a lot of, I would say, this PR work as well with it, where you have to be diplomatic. You have to, in very diplomatic way, tell people to shut up. It's not always easy to stay professional and the same way you're like inside you're like, Jesus Christ, this guy, I can't even, can he just go to sleep or something? But you have to stay there like, yes, of course, I understand your point. My counterpoint is shut up. It's just hard sometimes.
Oh, I
But
bet.
I mean, I also have a great team on both servers that I have people from like all over the world, so there's always someone there to like take care of it and look after the server. So this is definitely making things easier, and I have such a reliable people there who I can count on. Like I know if I go to sleep, the server won't burn overnight.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That would, I mean, that would terrify me. I have the same thoughts about my own Discord server, and I'm bad at Discord, which every one of my moderators will tell you. Like, I am the worst Discord server person ever, just because I'm very bad at like keeping up with it and stuff like that. It overwhelms me, and so I let my moderators kind of handle that, and they're amazing at it. Thank you, mods, for everything that you do for me. I love you all. But so how do you like when it comes, especially a Discord server of these sizes, because these are massive Discord servers. I mean, we're talking about the actual Discord server for this game, right? For each one, Borderlands and for Wonderlands. So you're talking about lots and lots and lots of people. Like, how do you? And I know you said that bots do a lot of the basic work and stuff like that, but how do you guys then kind of manage all of that when things are going down? Like, is it something you have to devote a lot of time to, especially around a content release?
So when things go down, when for example we get like raids and stuff, because raids happen when I think the worst raid we had was like I think we banned 40,000 accounts over a span of 3 days,
Oh wow.
and that was hell because bots couldn't keep up with blocking those people. But again, bots do a lot of work and take a lot of pressure off us. But when there's like a lot of people coming over because of the content release or the day that the Wonderland server was launched.
Mm-hmm.
It's one big thing that helps everyone on Discord is slow modes, because the higher the slow mode, the less people will try to spam and they just, wait till they can normally talk and conversate there. But it's just like man work, just people being their mods, monitoring what's happening, because it's usually fine. And then the cool thing is we got like regulars on server who are almost always there, and they are so used to be there, and we are such like friendly with them. They don't hesitate to ping us if something happens. So even if I'm not in the channel, someone will let me know. That's like a one thing that I can tell to anyone who's like maintaining any server of any capacity. People who come to like those more open servers very often look at admins as people who are just up there, like, pantheon of gods, and they never talk to you. They're just there monitoring everything. But I try to always be there and chat with people, and they know me. We're like friends. We're just volley, chat, and laugh and stuff. And thanks to that, they know that that mods are not just this angry gods above. We're also players and parts of the server, and they feel more comfortable. For example, pinging us to let us know that hey, something's going on here. This guy is like a prick or something. Can you do something about this? So at some point server starts to self-moderate.
Mm.
Sometimes even we don't have to step in, because someone, for example, comes in, says something stupid, and user is like, dude, can you not, unless you want to be like out of the server? And they just, put them down, so we can just, we don't have to even bother about
We
this.
don't even have to worry about it. I'll wash my hands
my,
of
my
it.
work is done.
I love that. And that's so cool to hear too, because like I don't know, the idea of doing a Discord server of that size just like completely overwhelms me. But it's cool that a lot of the users will help you guys out, which I mean that's a beautiful thing, and I think that goes to show too just how awesome the Borderlands community is too.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this is their home as well. They enjoy being there. So if someone who shouldn't be there shows up, like everyone wants to make sure that everyone around them is feeling comfortable and having fun, right? So that's why they probably take action.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. Well, let's do a couple more questions from the community real quick, and then I have one more really big question I want to get to before we wrap up. But I Kill Your Pony would like to know, what is the best art advice you could give someone that is maybe looking to get their start in art as a career? Do you have any tips or advice to give to somebody who's kind of just at the beginning of that?
I'm gonna give you probably the most casual answer here, but this is the most accurate answer I can give to that question, which is practice. Because I know how my art looked like at start. It was atrocious. It was horrible. I sometimes look at it when I feel like, my oh god, my art sucks. I look at my art from like 3 years ago. I am not that bad, maybe. So a lot of practicing. A lot of practicing, that's for sure. Trying over and over and over. For example, doing the same thing 20 times, or just checking some artwork you really like and try to do some details from it on site, like getting inspired. Another thing I could tell you is, if you, for example, want to go for drawing characters, go from big to small elements. So start from sketching like the whole silhouette, the arms, the movement, the everything. And once you got this frame and you see this frame for a character, like, yeah, you like how it looks like, then you go for details like eyes, like arms, like outfits, and so on. Because people sometimes get like super hyper focused on doing super detailed face, and they go like super detailed outfit. And then you like take a step back and you see that this whole artwork is like totally disheveled, and like the proportions are gone. Um, I made that mistake a couple of times with my art. I was like, hey, it's gonna look so great, and like take a step back, and I saw like, oh, this is horrible. One arm is twice as long as the other, or something. So yeah, always start from the getting those general details and shape, and then go into, or even if like you don't draw a character, like for example, a view. You just want to start with marking the buildings or the trees or mountains, and then you go into those details so they are in the right spot and you're sure about this.
I love that. I love that, and that's so true too. I mean, every for everything, not just in art but in life that you want to do for yourself. Like just practice. Like set your goal and practice until you get to that point. That's awesome. That is excellent. I love that. One more here from Dolce and Gabba. They want to know. You are such a colorful person. What inspires you to be yourself?
So first of all, hi Gabby, that's my friend from work.
I figured.
Oh my God, this is such a big question. I need to think about this. I I guess I had this time where I wasn't this like colorful and being everywhere and being so open. I was more let's say like I was more introverted around people and stuff. And I guess the part of it is that the way I am here online with streaming, with servers, with people being silly, being stupid, and so on. It's I feel comfort here because people are always also like this, and they don't mind it, and that's part of like being of in this environment, right? Where you can be a little bit yourself and you can loosen up a bit. And I feel like before it was just that I often would put that away, put that aside, because if I was behaving like this among people I used to be around, they would give me like a very weird looks, like oh no kringe kind of approach. So I was probably a bit like once I realized I can be more of myself and people actually like it and enjoy it and like me for the way I am. It started to be more comfortable for me to like do and go for what I want. Like, hey, there is a lockdown. I can't go to my hairdresser and my roots are showing. I need to do something crazy. Let's dye my hair full color green, like kind of stuff. So I guess it's matter of the more comfortable I started to feel around people for being me, the more I open up to be like this. I
Oh,
guess.
and that's it's so cool to hear you say that because I think a lot of the barriers that people have to doing stuff like this is just like, oh no, I'm too big of an introvert, or, oh no, I could never like just talk in front of people, put myself out there like that. And your story there is pretty inspiring in the sense of like, yeah, that is how I was. And then just the more that I did it and got comfortable with myself and comfortable with who I am as a person, the more that showed. Like that's something that I think we could all kind of take notes on. To be honest with you, I feel like a lot of people's fear of what people will think about them really holds them back. You know what I'm saying?
In the internet, if you do something really stupid, you can always like, delete all of your social media accounts and poof. And everything's fine. No one will remember.
Yeah, there you go. Just completely rebrand yourself. It's fine.
Yes. Hi, I don't know, Captain Porek, totally not Sheriff Pirek.
It's a
Let me
completely
re-dye my
different
hair
person. Completely
purple
different.
and easy. No one will never know.
No, I'm
No,
Alec the Rogue now.
big
That's a completely
mustaches.
different person. Don't.
Easy, just shave your beard, put a different hat on, and like you're totally a person.
Oh, nobody would recognize me if I shaved the beard. 100% not. No, I look completely different under this. It's ridiculous.
Or just put a hood on, no one will notice.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, so I do have one more question to ask you before we wrap up because we've already been going about an hour here. But this is something that I think comes up a lot. This is only our fourth episode, but on every single episode, this topic has kind of come up because it is something that content creators and people within the community struggle with so much, and that's burnout. Um, Especially someone like you who does so many different things all the time. How do you manage your feelings of burnout when they start to crop up, and what could you tell us about, like, what's some tips or something that you can give the other creators that are in the audience about how to manage those feelings of burnout?
So what I would say, it doesn't matter if you're feeling burnout with doing art or doing the content creation, take a break. Like, this is the best thing you can do. I have these moments where I feel, as I said before, when I start to draw and I just do 7,000 sketches and nothing looks right way, and I get frustrated, and I tell myself, today you're not gonna draw it. This is not your day. I just cannot grasp what's wrong with this art, but I don't like it. I put it away. I come back to it like a week later, and then I see if I maybe now feel how I want to put it together. Same goes with streaming, because we live in a world where content creators do so much for their community. There's those parasocial relationships creating and so on, and it's there is this mentality within content creators that if I don't go live that day, if I don't stream, if I'm not there, those people will be angry at me, will be upset with me. I'll make them sad. They will never come back to my streams again, and so on. And a lot of content creators actually struggle with this thought that not being there in their schedule will be so disastrous for them. And that is so untrue, because I think if you have a community that loves you and cares about you, if you tell them, hey guys, I'm taking like 3, 4 days of break because I need to recharge my batteries and so on, they would be more than happy to know that you're taking care of yourself, because you take care of them for sometimes day-to-day basis, right? You take care of them by giving them this place where they can be part of your chat, they can chat with you, relax, feel like they are part of something. And if they hear that you are taking care of yourself, so you can go back for them and be for them like more out there, they will never complain. They will be happy for you. And if they know you do something for yourself, I don't know, make a delicious breakfast, go for a nice walk, go to the cinema, or I don't know, swim or something, they will be definitely happy for you, and you will feel better if you take this break and, like, come back fresh with full energy to do what you want to do.
I love that. I love that. And I think that it is such a great answer because, like, there's so much pressure on content creators, and so much of that pressure is self-imposed. Like,
Mhm.
there is a lot of pressure to, like, to keep things going, especially when it comes to, like, YouTube and algorithms and, like, keeping consistency and blah 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 blah. But so much of that, like you said, is so self-imposed. Like, it's all up here. Like, no, guess what? If you miss a day, the world isn't going to burn down. you know it's like you said
Yeah.
with the Discord servers, like, oh, you can go to bed and not worry about the Discord setting itself on fire in the middle of the
Mhm.
night. So, like, I guess a follow-up to that question then, because that is so hard to get past those self-imposed pressures. What are some things that you tell yourself when you're feeling that, like, when you're feeling that pressure to just kind of burn the candle at both ends? What do you tell yourself to move past that internal fear?
God, what do I tell myself? I lie to myself, everything's fine, first of all. Um, you know what? I do the opposite. I'm not telling myself anything. I'm just trying to not overthink, because I'm a huge overthinker.
Mm,
I often assume things in the most bad way and wrong way, and this is so hard for me. I try to go the opposite way and just do the brain empty, like relax, listen to music, go for a walk, play some game. I just try to not think about this, because the more you're gonna think about this, the more you're gonna spiral down to, like, what if I take a day break? What if I have less viewers? This month is already bad and it's gonna be worse. It's just spiraling and overthinking it and focusing on it. I try to just distract myself completely and focus on something else. And I mean, this is advice for people who are like me, but I know everyone is having their own way to cope with that.
mm.
But yeah, for me, it's just cutting myself off this and focusing on something else, letting my, like, brain take a break from this all, and focusing on something different, preferably something fun.
No, I think that's a really good answer. I think that's super important. I think that is super important. So yeah, to all of the content creators that are out there listening to this or thinking about becoming a content creator, make sure to take care of yourself, because everybody that is going to come and view your content will do it no matter what. So don't kill yourself to make content. Basically, is probably the easiest way I can describe it.
Yes, and drink water
Yes,
because I will
lots of
forget
water.
about this.
Coffee is great. I drink a lot of coffee, but please drink water
Same.
because coffee is not water. Well, Sheriff, this has been an absolutely amazing discussion. It's really been great to have you. A true delight. Thank you so much for being here with us. But let me give you a few seconds. Just this is what I like to call the shameless plug portion of the show. Why don't you tell people where can they go to find out more about you and to support your content?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful. It was fun to be for a change on the other side of being questioned in the podcast. Thank you so much for having me. Um, I go on most social media by Sheriff Pirek, so Instagram, Twitch, uh, Discord as well. On Twitter, I have Deputy Pirek handle, so that's the one difference. But all of the other social media, except for TikTok, because I don't use that one yet. Uh, but yeah, Instagram, Twitch, Discord, and so on. You can find me as Sheriff Pirek. Um, so I guess that's that.
And what about
Yeah,
for like your art and stuff? Do you do commissions or anything? Like if anybody is interested in getting some emote work done or anything like that by you?
so if you want to see like my bigger artworks, Instagram is the way to go because I just focus my Instagram on posting my art. If you want to see emojis works and so on, you definitely want to check my Twitter. There is a pinned message in Twitter with my current price list for everything, for emojis, animated one, static one, artworks, stream like layouts and so on. So you can see everything there. And don't hesitate to message me on Twitter or drop me on Discord. I'm usually on Discord. If you have any questions or want to ask about some packages so we can get some discount. I also have a raffle right now on Twitter. You can win the full artwork or just portrait or emoji from me. So if you go to my Twitter, you can also check that and get a chance to win an artwork from me as well. So yeah, that's definitely where I usually post about all those stuff.
Definitely go check her out, guys. She has some really amazing artwork, and remember, it's at Deputy Pirek for Twitter instead of Sheriff. But thank you again so much for being here. But that is all the time we have for the confessional this evening. If you guys out there have any questions or guest suggestion or anything else, or if you have more questions that we didn't get to tonight, go ahead and leave us a comment in the video here if you are watching us on YouTube, or if you're joining us via audio format on your favorite podcasting site. Just leave it in a review. We would absolutely love to hear from you and hear about what you would like to see in the show going forward. Thank you again, everyone. Remember, be excellent to each other. You guys have a great day and a great night. Bye bye now.